right, and we are live from Bellevue, Washington, and we're going to talk about transforming work and project management with Microsoft Teams and manufacturing today. I'll be your host, Brian Quick. I have with me some special guests. We have Mike Taylor, the CEO of Innovative E, Jeff Pekulik, Solution Specialist Manufacturing in the U.S. East, Jen Simon, Solution Specialist U.S. Manufacturing in the West. Pamela Melville will be our coordinator today, so let's get started. So we'll go through the agenda today. We'll have a special welcome from Jeff and Jen. Then we'll explore the Microsoft eBook on manufacturing in more detail. We'll talk about using Teams for project management. We'll talk about experiencing that and seeing a demonstration of that today so you can take home some firsthand knowledge of what it looks like. We'll explore what Innovative E's Teams for PM solution brings to the table. And so I'll turn it over to Jeff here for a few notes on what he's experienced in the manufacturing space with project management. Jeff?
Hi, Brian. Thanks for hosting the webinar today. And Jen and I have a great job. We get to talk to PMO directors and program leads across our manufacturing sector. And it's been great. For about 2 years, we've been supporting about 400 accounts. And then before that, for about 8 years, I've been working at Microsoft. And I think the best thing we've accomplished is we start now with work management and move that up the food chain to projects and programs, recognizing you've got to handle that entire continuum. One of the findings that Gartner shared recently is that they simplified it into the two big inhibitors for top performing teams in general, but obviously in this case, the IT teams, but is linking their strategy. And everyone likes to spend a lot of time, a lot of PowerPoints building a nice strategy. The question is, when you go to do execution, how do you know that you're working on the right stuff and that the progress you're making in execution actually feeds what you decided you want to do in strategy? And I think that's spot on. I think people lack portfolio views, and then they lack the execution at the task level. Brian, the next slide, to build on that a little bit more, what I see in the delivery side is it really kind of boils down into 3 areas that the project leads, the PMOs, those people worried about the results need to focus on. And it's not just a strategy and letting the runners hit the road and hit the race. You really have to do it, I think, in 3 main areas. On the left-hand side, Brian, a lot of what we're talking about today and a lot of the tools that Microsoft has really reinvented since the work from home and the pandemic type stuff is this collaborative work management. Work is projects based in most environments today, and we really need to make sure that we're making that work as collaborative as possible. That means from people, starting the morning in the tool of choice, in many cases with a lot of our loyal Microsoft followers, that's now Microsoft Teams. But anything we can do to make it more secure, avoid putting work in other places, whether that be at the desktop or third-party tools and things like that, really just focus on collaboration. To switch over to the right-hand side, I think we used to spend a lot of time on strategic portfolio management, but now we really understand what that means. And you're constantly evolving your portfolio of work to manage it to the outcomes you want to get. And those outcomes that we all know are pretty short-lived now. Every 3 months, 6 months, we need to refigure out what we're going to work on. But also the resources ebb and flow so much that we have to actually adjust our portfolio. What I think gets lost is in the middle. It's these dashboards of all the other activities that are going on. Some of those are project work. Some of those are day-to-day work. Some of those are other things like service management and stuff that comes up along the way. So leading visibility at the manager level or department level, I think, is actually the middle ground that we sometimes don't give enough attention to. And this is really what you're going to talk about today, I believe, is that linking the collaboration to the portfolio that really happens when we connect the projects, whether they're tiny little projects that a natural work team can do within a week, or they're bigger projects that take weeks, months, or quarters. So that's really what I'm seeing out there. So that's what I wanted to share. And Jen and I are here to help any Microsoft customer really pick up on what we share today and make sure you can do this.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, Jeff. We're seeing that too.
these are some of the more viable work cases that we see in manufacturing. Obviously, we see the portfolio management, the CXO's agenda. What is that budget holder really trying to do? The other thing we see a lot of activity right now, and Microsoft's making a lot of investments, is objectives and key results, called OKRs. These are very distinct deliverables that drive financial and KPI type outcomes for companies. We see capital planning as a new area. It's been around since the dawn of ages with industrialization, but now capital planning is this very ongoing, reevaluated portfolio process. And then some of the big projects, we see a lot of activity in sustainability, new product introduction. We still see a lot of Six Sigma and Lean projects out there. And now we're recognizing that the outside in, making sure your company and your customers are working together. The customers are more than ever influencing the types of projects that get done. And the bottom line is, can you track the results? So that's where we're seeing most of the use cases in manufacturing.
Yeah, I think Mike and I would echo a lot of what you're saying. We're bringing collaboration and making that a first-class citizen in project management, instead of bringing people to the project management system to try to represent their work there. We want to bring the project and work management into the collaborative space, and that's Microsoft Teams.
Yeah, and then last thing on the left-hand side is we don't see it as a one tool within Microsoft. We've got this entire cornucopia of tools, specifically with Power BI, Power Apps, Power Automate. You don't have to hard code everything. You can actually put in place some mechanisms, some tools, some processes, and decide if they're going to work, you make them stick. If they're not going to work, you can quickly modify them. There's no longer this build and then test and then release and then reevaluate it. You can do that very organically now. And that's what Microsoft's all about, is the flexibility and the tools. And I think that's what you're going to share today.
It sure is. And Jen, what's going on with these new eBooks that Microsoft's releasing for industry?
Oh, thanks, Brian. Yeah, hi, everybody. I'm Jen Simon, and we're pretty excited about these eBooks. Thank you to our marketing team and actually Innovative E for contributing to these. It really goes over, and actually Innovative E, we'll talk about it here today. It really goes over manufacturing as a whole and what you can do with the Microsoft platform. I mean, really, one of the big things that we saw come out of this COVID time period is people do not want to send their Excel spreadsheets around in email anymore. Everybody really wants to collaborate in one space. So this ebook is a really nice way of putting the information in one place, and then you're able to share it with your company. And, with Innovative E's help, we can come together and even bring your company and different parts of your organization together so that you can be on one platform for collaboration.
Yeah, that's great. So let's dive in. I just want to tell you a little bit more about Innovative E. We are a Microsoft Gold partner in project portfolio management, as well as several other areas. We've been around for quite a while. Mike and I are here to help you with your project work management needs. We have several case study customers, and we have customers in manufacturing as well as several other industries. We're focused right now on modern work and project management solutions as part of your Microsoft investment and leveraging the Power Platform to really bring those to life for you. We'll provide a link, Michelle, to all of the ebooks so you can grab them. If you notice, there was a QR code. If you want to hold up your phone there and just open up your camera, you can go directly to the ebook and download it right from your phone right now. Okay, so Innovative E is here to help you transform work and project management into a competitive advantage with modern cloud-based collaboration tool sets that enable everyone to work toward your core objectives. And if you really think about that, it's time to start thinking about work and project management as a potential competitive advantage, not just something that you have to get done or something that is a necessary overhead. If you really are executing and doing project management well, it can be a competitive advantage for your organization, for your department. And the way that we feel is the best way to do that in today's world is to use collaboration tools and build in your project management scenarios to those tools, namely Microsoft Teams. Mike, Jen, Jeff, feel free to contribute or add some color or commentary as I go through the rest of the demo and presentation today. I just wanted to kind of feel like a panel so we can get some good discussion going. I'm going to open up a poll. And that poll is going to ask a quick question of you. We're going to have several polls that are going to be designed to get folks on the call today to participate a little bit. And I'm going to launch that poll right now. So take a look at it and let us know your feedback so we can gear the presentation toward you. It says, what tools are you using for work and project management today? Let's be honest, folks, okay? If you're using Excel, let us know. All right, and I'm watching the results trickle in here.
Brian, as those results come in, one of the things we are totally open to at Microsoft, and ever since Satya Nadella has become our CEO, we recognize there's other tools out in the ecosystem, and the goal is to work with those tools most of the time. Certainly, you don't want to bifurcate too much of the process, but we recognize there's other tools out there, and it shouldn't be kept behind us that Microsoft is out to try to, bring that data in and show it in the dashboards, the reports, and things like that.
That's right.
Yeah, that's a great point, Jeff. And to your point earlier about the Power Platform, that's what makes it all possible, right? You bring in all that data into one place, and the Power Platform, the Power Apps, there's literally hundreds of connectors to all kinds of other, app sources and things like that. So it's really much more simplistic to bring that together in a low-code, no-code way than it was in the past.
Exactly. One of the things that every PMO wants to do is get a good eye on capacity. The only way you can get a good eye into capacity is to make sure you're getting a good collection of demand, and all the demand matters. So if the work is being done in other places, it's important to report on it.
Right. So let's take a look at some of the results here. So we've got about 35% of you are using Project on the desktop. Thank you for being a great project customer. We think there's a better way to do it. It's more, we have a more collaborative option for you to talk about today, and that's using Microsoft Project in concert with Microsoft Teams. We have a lot of folks that are still using Excel, PowerPoint, and other Microsoft-based tools. And although those are great and they're at your disposal and at your fingertips, so to speak, the data is not going to a common data repository. We have no way to report on that data, and you're basically creating manual work and representing your projects manually. And we'd like to offer some options for you to automate some of that and to make it more collaborative. Some of you are using Project Online. Some of you are using other PPM systems or other non-Microsoft-based work management services. Great feedback. Thanks for that. It's always great to understand where people are coming from. So let's talk a little bit about the Microsoft mission to empower every person on the planet to achieve more. And Microsoft Project empowers companies to achieve better results by aligning investments with projects and resources, working with agility and flexibility, and collaborating globally, all using intuitive, consistent tools in the Microsoft Cloud Platform.
Is that a picture of our supply chain problem?
It's one of the ports that's been backed up, Jeff. So let's take a look at some statistics. Teams need flexibility and enterprises need visibility. We're seeing that 45% of projects use Agile and other modern dynamic PM methods. 78% of CEOs say more to remote collaboration. I'm sorry, there's a little typo there. Let me just read that again. 78% of CEOs say that remote collaboration is an enduring shift, not a temporary one. And 25 million new project managers will be needed by 2030. 25 million new project managers. Because the world is changing and manufacturers need to transform the way that they work. The manufacturing industry is digitally transforming, as you know. You've all heard that buzzword before. Compelling manufacturing workforces to learn new skills. A successful workforce transformation requires technology that can attract, train, and retain the next generation of workers, equipping them with the skills that they need to reimagine manufacturing and shape a sustainable future. Meanwhile, Deloitte Insights says that 2.4 million manufacturing jobs could be unfilled between 2018 and 2028 due to inadequate skills. And so Microsoft is offering one connected platform that spans all of your work. There are 3 pillars that they talk about in the ebook, which we will provide in an email after the webinar, or you can download it yourself using QR code I displayed earlier. We'll display that again later. Pillar 1, collaboration made easy. Pillar 2, improving visibility and governance. and pillar 3, powerful insights. And as Jeff mentioned earlier, we are not providing one tool that does everything. We are providing a platform for collaboration, for you to develop your own apps that are specific to your business and the way that it works, to do project management, and to report and provide analytics to your executives so that they can make decisions. Microsoft has first-class enterprise-ready tools in all these areas. We're putting them together for you so that you can leverage the investment that you've already made in Microsoft and the fact that you trust Microsoft with your data, and leverage that into a powerful project portfolio management solution. So let's ask another poll question. I'm going to light this up real quick. Which of these apply to your team or organization? Is project information spread among disparate legacy systems? Are you wasting time on tedious, repetitive tasks? Do you want to work more efficiently from the cloud? Do you need visibility to help drive decisions, but your data doesn't support it? Is your work managed inefficiently with disconnected tools? Go ahead and pick the most important one of these to you so we can take a look at where your needs are. And if you got all this stuff figured out, you probably don't need to be on this webinar.
Brian, as the results come in, one of the things I often hear, which is really a new paradigm within the data around project management, is it used to be very easy to fabricate, fudge, maybe hyperbole the information to support the initiatives that people wanted to invest in or spend their time on. As you connect these systems, one of the things that becomes clear is the data really does begin to support where you should be spending your time. It aligns with OKRs, it aligns with KPIs, it aligns with where you have available resources to do the work. So the executive fudge factor seems to fall away once we start to address some of these questions you're asking here.
That's a good point. Real world experience there. Well, what are you guys saying? Basically, we're seeing it's kind of the most prominent one here is you need complete visibility to help drive decisions, to your point, Jeff, but your data doesn't support it. So in order to get that, though, guys, we need to make sure that we're collecting that data in a meaningful way. So the answer to the last question was you're still using Excel and PowerPoint and doing a lot of manual tasks in order to collect the data. You're never going to be able to provide visibility into that data if you're not putting it into some sort of a centralized data repository so that we can get meaningful results out. So those two things just go hand in hand. A lot of you also said that you're wasting time on tedious, repetitive tasks and you want to work more efficiently from the cloud. Great responses, good engagement. So let's go into a little bit more detail about these pillars that Microsoft's identified for manufacturing and the way that they see project and work management. So manufacturers have an opportunity, you all do, to equip your organizations and your frontline workers with powerful and intuitive tools that deliver a remote yet connected and integrated business experience. And so we can simplify project management by bringing all of your tools and processes together into Microsoft Teams, where you're already working, and create a single place for information and action. We can use project directly in Teams. Did you know you could do that? We're going to show you that today, to collaborate on all your work in one platform. And you can automate processes. You know, project management offices, projects in general, whether they're using whatever methodology they're using, have processes that always go hand in hand with them. How do you start a project? How do you do change management? How do you do risk management? Those are all processes that you have today, or that you're thinking about building in, or you should be thinking about building in. And those processes are probably a little bit unique to you because they're done your way. How do we emulate that? How do we automate those processes and those workflows to make sure that the necessary actions are taking place? Well, the way we do that is we combine these tools with Power Automate, and we do it all in Teams. Second pillar is improving visibility and governance. Manufacturers don't want to simply adjust to a digitally transformed industry. They also want to drive improved business outcomes. That's why we're here. To achieve this, you guys need to empower your workforces with tools and solutions that integrate people and processes, such as building line of business apps, which can help improve business process and maintenance management. Using this low code, no code platform that we're talking about, our platform, that enables your users to build your own apps and streamline enterprise workflow. And we can help you do that. If you're thinking, wow, that sounds really great, but I don't know how to do that, and I don't have the right people in-house to learn how to do that. That's what Innovative E can help with as a Microsoft partner. Happy to bring that expertise to bear and really light this up and make it meaningful for you inside of teams. You can leverage all of these tools that Microsoft provides in concert. And we can understand the bigger picture to help stakeholders keep up to date with hierarchies and centralized project status reporting, create and assign tasks that are issue and risk-based to minimize schedule impacts. So what's pillar 3? Powerful insights. Once we've got the first two pillars done, we're collaborating and we're providing improved visibility and governance, because the collection of the data needs to be governed. Then we can make insights out of it, and we can make heads or tails out of the results. And so as you think about rebuilding for your future, one of the considerations across organizations or manufacturing organizations is how to make better decisions. There is more data. You guys have a lot more data at your disposal, but less time to actually react to it. And so organizations like yourselves must link strategy to execution, making data-based decisions at all levels to have positive impact on outcomes. And
Brian,
what we can do with this, yeah, Jeff.
Brian, I was just going to add when you look at the powerful insights, and it's always been one of my priorities or pet peeves of the past, is that when you ask a end user, a manager, a finance person, someone for some data, the number one thing you have to do is show them that it's being used in some way. In the past, even when we were in Project Server, Project Online, and I think there was about 35% of the people that were in those environments, you had to go build reports. Obviously, we all saw that we're overworked with tedious tasks, and building reports takes additional time that we often didn't have. Now that we're in Power BI, one of the best things we can do is, because it's all tile-based, as soon as you can syndicate the data, it actually becomes very convenient to have lighter versions or alternative views of the same data to really reinforce to those people that you're asking the data collection side, that previous pillar around governance, is really show them versions of the reports that are useful to them. And by using Power BI, you can actually do a quick spin, a quick pivot on it, and show them this is your view of the data, and they start to reinforce what they're giving you, and that data gets better. So one of the things about the past was asking people for data was sometimes like walking up to a dog and asking for their bone back. In this case, the data actually becomes useful for people. And it's one of the things I really think we've done a lot of successful things at Microsoft, is making sure that the syndication of data can be done hand in hand with the graphical representations of Power BI.
And I'll add one more thing in here. The other thing that's nice about this is we've actually changed the licensing to be more inclusive. So your executives can see these awesome reports, and they don't have to touch your project schedule, because you don't ever want an executive to touch your project schedule. So, but they can see the beautiful reports in Teams, and it's super easy. Right.
That's a great point, Jen. Microsoft's really making strides to reduce the impact that licensing has on the dissemination of information. One other example of that is the new announcement that for Project for the Web, the team members who are being assigned tasks will only need a E3 or E5 license in Office 365 to be able to provide updates to those tasks, right?
Yeah, Brian, and that's huge. That's things that customers have asked for a long time. They really want to have, to Jen's point, something much more inclusive. Like, they say, I don't want to have to license somebody who participates in a project just once every year or two. They just need to assign them a couple tasks and let them go update them. And this new licensing model, all up, is created a lot more opportunity for a much more inclusion of everyone in the organization.
Right. And so what we want to do here is build project dashboards and report templates that natively integrate with Power BI. Microsoft makes the original kind of out of the box report set available for no additional cost. And then we take that from there and really make it meaningful for your company. And we want to bring that real-time visualized information to sponsors, managers, and delivery teams, but we don't want to spend a lot of manual time aggregating the information and putting it together. You know, executives ask for, hey, it would be great if I could see it this way, or it would be great if I could have this insight. Can you put that together for me? And really sometimes don't realize how much time and effort goes into producing those things if the data is not centralized and it's not being used and it's not being displayed like in a collaborative tool like Power BI.
Yep, and Brian, I would just caveat or do a little definitional check. When we say centralize the data, really what we're talking about is syndicating or grabbing it from wherever it exists within your organization, right, and bringing it into the reporting environment. The data is still going to reside in either an enterprise system, a manufacturing system, or your project management system. It's not necessarily it has to be in an old SQL database somewhere. It is syndicating it from wherever it exists and bringing it into the reporting model.
And when you're putting that information together, you're doing it in the Microsoft Cloud, which you're already using. It's likely that you're already using this for other workloads, that you're already collaborating on it. And Microsoft never takes your trust for granted. So we're serious about commitments to protecting customers and putting in a cloud-first world. We live by standards and practices designed to earn your confidence and adhere to GDPR. And we collaborate with industry and regulators to build trust in the cloud ecosystem. And so there are many compliance certifications that are part of the tools that we're talking about today. And Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft, is leading that trust in the Microsoft Cloud. So let's light up another poll question here briefly for you to take a look at. What's the current state of Teams adoption in your company or organization? How's it going? Are you guys using Teams? Let us know. Got a couple of folks that are all in. Some folks say it's really catching on. This is validating of our strategy here, and what Microsoft's doing is making sure that the collaboration is happening inside Teams, and we're going to be bringing in those project management experiences to that platform. So let's leverage Teams for project management and start collaborating, because projects are about getting work done, because Microsoft provides new, easy to learn project tools that are built to put collaboration first. And we can embrace those casual project managers in your organization that want something a little bit lighter weight than Microsoft Project on the desktop offers. And we can reduce shadow IT solutions and disparate data. Here's what it looks like, folks. So using Project inside Teams provides a complete scheduling engine and tool inside of Microsoft Teams. Here you see Microsoft Project, the new version, often referred to as Project for the Web, coming through in Microsoft Teams. It offers real-time co-authoring, a copy project feature, threaded discussion, and resource assignment right within Teams. And of course, you can use Kanban boards for those of you who are doing some alternative methodologies, or you just like the feel of moving a card from in start, get in progress to done. And so your team members can participate in your morning standing meetings by taking ownership of cards and moving them through. We have dependency management. So we have critical path, the concept of critical path in a project. So we have predictable end dates. For those of you that are using Excel today, you don't have this unless you're getting really tricky about your formulas, and there's a lot of room for error there. So we include that scheduling engine in the solution, so that when one thing pushes out, it has dependencies built in that pushes out your schedule.
Yeah, Brian, some of the stuff that's really, when we talk about Project for Web or the modern project experience, the goal is to make it as accommodating to those people that are unfamiliar with project management practices as those people that spent their life, building Gantt charts. And just that is the number one thing I saw early on. The survey was a good third or more has been using Project Desktop. The truth of the matter is that Gantt chart is the scariest part for most team members that are going to come casually stumble upon a plan. So I know you're going to talk a little bit about being able to show them a view of the world and to show them how they can quickly message along the tasks without having to be a formal project manager.
Yeah, and we've been around for a while, Jeff. I mean, that's always been a pain point is, you've got that great, awesome Microsoft project schedule, but where is it? It's on your desktop. right? Or it's saved as a PDF to some file drive or SharePoint somewhere, or worse, you're emailing it around as an attachment. There's a better way to do things. There's a better way, folks, and it's to leverage these new tools inside of Teams that allow your team members to provide updates in real time, to interact with the schedule in the way that they want to. And because we're using Teams and because we're leveraging the full power of the Microsoft platform, the documents and artifacts that we're creating as a result of these tasks that are in projects are co-authorable right within the Teams channel. So whether you're using Word, Excel, PowerPoint, your files are posted alongside of and also in the context of the tasks that are taking place. So you're attaching a file to a task or a project and you're putting it in to Teams, which is where you're collaborating anyway. So you can stop emailing the file attachments around or finding the file drive that they go in. They're just in the Teams channel. And that means that you can co-author them together, use the threaded discussion, and really collaborate on those project artifacts. Of course, all of the data that you're inputting to these project schedules goes into a central repository, which is what we're emphasizing today, that we can then point Power BI at and derive really great data from so that you can make decisions. So we want to centralize that in Power BI, increase awareness, eliminate all the manual status reporting that you're doing, so that your timelines, milestones, and resources are all automatically going into the reports, which refresh regularly. And it's easy to tweak and make these reports your own. If you don't have those skills, that's okay. We can help you with that. Let's light up our last poll of the day. And it's, when considering the use of Teams for project management, which of the following would be a priority for you? Select all that apply. So check them all and let's see what you got.
Again, Brian, while that's lighting up, I think workflow is one of those things that in the past was a little bit of a bridge too far for a lot of organizations. It felt that it was confining and that by defining a workflow, it really wasn't an automation or a work aid product. It was actually invoking some kind of governance or structure that people didn't want to have. I think Power Apps makes it a lot more fluid and flexible. And then last thing is, we're from the work from home, or at least the part-time work from home model. I do think we all recognize that workflow is the only way to keep things moving forward when people are in and out at different times. So we're in a different world now with workflow, or basic, I'd call it business process automation. Workflow may be the word that people get a little bit nervous about.
Yeah, business process automation, because these tools, are not only leveraging workflow capabilities or the ability to move something along to the next step or send somebody a notification or an email or branch off if some decision is made. They're also collecting a lot of the data that we're using for the reporting. So this is kind of even. It's kind of divided up. I would say it's pretty even. So all of these things are very important to you. So enabling workflow, bridging complex and simple projects in a single data set. Like you were talking about this earlier, Jeff, it's not only those enterprise projects that we're concerned about, it's the intakes or the regular day-to-day stuff that's going on that we want to make sure it gets into the data set, because people are spending time on that stuff.
We saw on one of your benchmark report slides earlier that we're really shorthanded in the project management department or function. And unless we can actually use the tool sets to address these 6-7 items on the survey, we're not going to ever, have enough work in the 5-6 day work week to get the work done from a project management perspective. So we really do have to start thinking about how are these tools either automating or minimizing or eliminating the effort that PMs spend their time on.
Right. So let's get started with it. We can do all this stuff, Mike.
I just wanted to jump on that point that Jeff was making. There's actually been several other things that have been out there by some of the analysts like Gartner, who were saying that while there's a demand for more project managers, they anticipate that there's an equal or a much higher demand to stop chasing the data as much. So that they actually predict that a lot of the processes that people do now that are very manual, and you guys keep talking about it, that Excel, the different silos of data and everything else, that will reduce by a very large percentage in the next 10 years through this. So what we're really at here is kind of the foundational level of really being able to consolidate everything like never before, so that you're not really chasing data. The project manager's job is really helping influence what to do about whatever the issues or risk or challenges are, and really do those components and focus the human capital on the thinking part rather than the data maintenance.
That's a great point. Yeah, the more we can lower the bar, so to speak, on the collection of the data, and make sure that it's just part of your day-to-day activity to collect that data and make it seamless for the users, the better the reporting is going to be. So when we talk about what Microsoft is doing to respond to these trends and to address these issues, we're not talking about what's the next version of projects due to this. It's only part of the discussion. It's what the entire platform brings to bear. And what we're doing is we're leveraging that Power Platform, Power BI, Power Automate, and Power Apps. We at Innovative E have a practice in this area, and that's how we're able to bring these solutions to life for you in Microsoft Teams. And that tool that we've built, pre-built, and is available to you is called Teams for PM. So it's built with Power Apps and Power Automate. It extends the platform so that the project and portfolio management capabilities that you need are completely encompassed within Teams. You never have to leave. It offers a single dashboard for all project work, regardless of complexity. And it takes the data from project for the web and project online potentially, and combines those together into one solution and one dashboard. It also allows you to log risks and issues right from a Teams chat, and lays the groundwork for the promise of AI in project management. Now, Mike, we talk about this and it seems lofty, but what we're trying to do here by leveraging a single platform is get as much great data in there so that we can start doing the fun stuff and the interesting things about how are we going to leverage artificial intelligence in project management to start predicting things that could go wrong or could be optimized.
Yeah, what's really critical here, it's not just about making it easier to find the right data. It's actually down the road, as you start to get, like you said, better and better, higher quality data in centralized into the Dataverse, if you will, to get a little technical. You're going to be able to make these really interesting observations and be able to apply machine learning to it, so that when you've been doing projects over and over again, AI might be able to look at it and say, hey, you've done this several times before. You're saying you're going to finish on this date with this kind of result. You might rethink that, because that's not the history we've seen before. So
right.
with more data comes better capabilities, and that's the future is going to be there with that. And Microsoft has a whole offering around that works hand in hand with the Power Platform, with the AI platform.
Right. And then also, Mike, because we're leveraging the Power Platform, we have Power Automate, and it's available connectors at our disposal so that we can expose and integrate with other line of business systems.
Yeah, like Jeff was saying a few minutes ago, it's what we're really chasing, I think, collectively, is this new concept of data first kind of way to go after things, and that it's really all we talk about collaboration. It's not just people collaboration; it's application collaboration.
Mm-hmm. Right. So how does Teams for PM work? Well, it all starts with submitting a new project. So Teams for PM will collect your project attributes and initiate your workflow. Then it will automatically provision your project schedule, your risk list, your issues list, your status report, and your lessons learned list in Teams. So it's actually going and creating the tabs in Teams so that you don't have to do that manually. It keeps your team member experience consistent, and it eliminates manual setup. So if you're doing these things manually and you're trying to use Teams for project management, which some of you probably are, you're going to have inconsistency between one project manager and another, and your data is not going to go into the right buckets so that we can report on it centrally. So what Teams for PM does is it automates the creation of these things and the governance of it inside Teams. It creates the channel automatically, it creates the tabs automatically, and provisions the right tools for the job so that we can collect that data and make it meaningful. And what it also does is it then maximizes collaboration by bringing risk and issue logging right to your fingertips. Any member of the team can log a risk or issue right from a Teams chat thread. And those entries go directly into reporting for executive insight and visibility. So imagine you're in a chat and we realize that there's an issue or risk that's taking place. We can just right click on that risk and log it in the risk list for the project, which then goes into the overall dashboard automatically. And Teams for PM allows you to use the project scheduling tools that you want by enabling both Project Online, which is the enterprise-based PPM solution offered by Microsoft, and Project for the Web inside of Teams. So you can empower all of your simple and enterprise projects into one common data source while using the right tools for the job. So we go back to the earlier discussion about there's some projects that are enterprise level, great, but then there's all that other stuff. Maybe we can use Microsoft Project for the Web for that, and we can collect that data and make it more meaningful, centralize it, and make it on display inside of Teams. And so now your project members, your project team and executives can use the tools that they want without ever leaving Teams. And Teams for PM enables these applications to collaborate among themselves, thus eliminating the need for people to context switch, go over here to put your data, or go over here to view the report. No, we want to keep it all within Teams and we make it a meaningful experience. And that's what Teams for PM does, the solution that Innovative E has built on top of the Microsoft platform. So let's demonstrate that for you right now. And as I'm transitioning over to the demo, if anybody on the panel has any comments, let me know. Just speak up.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is the consistency with Teams. So if people are comfortable making comments, and again, it might be after hours, it might be in different geographies that are different time zones, et cetera. The idea of having a message and having the message in the threaded discussion type format is less intimidating than them actually posting an issue or a risk. So we're using that casual or informal format of project management and being less draconian about governance and things, but still embracing the work process and making sure we're getting the feedback from the extended organization, because those are the people that know what's going on.
Yeah, and that encourages to that point, Jeff, that encourages people to participate more, and therefore you're collecting more valuable data. So it's all kind of snowballs in the right direction.
All right, let's play the demo.
And Project for the Web is the lighter weight, new project tool. It's easy to use. People really are delighted by it. It's simple. Analogy is even simpler to understand, and it provides real-time co-authoring. It does have a copy project feature available, so you can templatize things. It has a threaded discussion, of course, because we're using Teams, right? So everything is a part of as possible in threaded discussion. So you can just comment or include a teammate in a comment alongside the project schedule. And it has the ability to assign resources.
Right. I'd like to bring up something else you mentioned earlier. You notice that it's in the Teams interface, so it's already got the channels and everything pre-provisioned. And you mentioned earlier that it keeps things in a consistent way, right? So it's a kind of a you're doing everything not going in different directions. It's the same kind of templatized approach.
Right. Exactly. A lot of you are looking at, how can I use Kanban boards or work in progress boards in order to do things that way. That's the way you want to work. You don't want to work in a Gantt chart or more interactive so that you have your morning stand-up meetings use cards. Well, Project for the Web enables you to do that. So imagine you're in Teams, you're in your Teams channel, and you're able to move cards along in their status from not started to in progress to done, or categorize them in a different way. And it provides a way that you can actually attach documents to the cards. So that, if you're producing a document as a result of a task, then you have that in line. And that's another example of kind of bridging the gap between the work that's being done and the data that represents it, like we were saying before. And if you want to use a Gantt chart, it's there. It's called a timeline. What's nice about this is Project for the Web actually has the ability to have like a critical path, and things can push. Things are dependent upon one another. So when something gets delayed, the next thing will also get delayed, and your end date for your project will push out. So you see kind of what happens when things move around in your project. If you're using something like Excel, or you're using something that's not really intended for project management, you're not going to have that predictability. So what we want to do is we want to make these tools easy, simple to use, put them inside teams, so that the people who are trying to use other tools that are less optimal for project management really come to the realization that, hey, this tool, I can use this, I can do this. This is not rocket science. I can basically use a tool that's tuned for project management and get my work done. I'm not really sacrificing.
Teams for PM adds to the picture is you have a general screen where you have a Teams for PM app, and that's going to take all of your project information and it's going to centralize it in one place. So you can look at your projects from a standpoint of, here are my simple projects, here are my enterprise level projects. It may take projects from Project for the Web or Project Online. And of course, we can make this full screen. And so I'm able to look at my complete project list, and also I'm able to edit things in line. If I want to change the department for this project to operations, for example, or I want to change its cost health to red, those can also be calculated depending on how you want to configure this. If I want to also take a look at the risks across the board in all projects, I can do that here. I can look at the issues across the board in all projects. I can look at the lessons learned. So it provides me the ability not only to edit things centrally, but also to see what's going on centrally if I'm, at PMO level or management, and I want to take a look at or make some changes to things all up. For example, I can change the budgets of some of these projects, the priority level, right all from here. So that's a really nice way of looking at it. And then if I want to go into individual projects, I can simply go back to an individual project like my cloud transformation project, for example, and I can see just that project and that project schedule as I was showing earlier. We also have some other capabilities here, like, for example, the risk board, where I can basically log risks for my projects, and then those all get copied back to the general screens that I showed you before. And then we have the ability to log issues, and those all, again, copy back to the general. So once I log a risk or an issue, it's going to immediately be available in the central administration. So key sponsors out of the office, we take a look at going back to the central administration here, and we're able to see that risk and issue in the central screens.
Okay, well, let's get back to business here. Now that you've had a chance to see firsthand the demonstration of Project for the Web inside of Teams, as well as Teams for Project Management, the innovative e-provided configured app. I'm going to go ahead back and share the presentation one more time, and we have a few other things to get to.
And Brian, thanks for the demo. Just so everyone knows, the goal of Project for Web is to make sure that we're creating a user experience that's convenient and intuitive and not dependent on any kind of formal training.
Right.
The intent of Project for Web is for the masses to be able to do project management. We still recognize that very often for a complex project schedule, or perhaps a structure of work breakdown that has certain kinds of leveling and other kinds of needs, we still would use Project Professional. And there's lots of ways to bring those two things together, or bring those two kinds of inputs into the dashboards that you showed about earlier. So we do hope to get more parity with some of the project management tools Microsoft has had in the past, but they are intended to be different audiences.
Correct. So what we can do is we can pull those two tools together. If you'd like to stay on the desktop and use Project Online to basically consolidate all those MPP files together into one data set, and combine that with the Project for the Web stuff, and then you have both. You got your easy projects, your casual projects, your less enterprise projects, and then you've got your enterprise stuff right in one place. Let's talk about someone that's already done this. It's the Southern New Hampshire University. You guys have probably seen the commercials. They're one of our customers, and we have a case study available. That case study is available at innovative-e.com/client-success. And Microsoft actually did the case study. They interviewed our customer and they wrote up a great result. They started using Teams for PM, and in coordination with Project Online and the desktop tools back in December 2021. And now we're adding Project for the Web to the mix, so they're going to have both. So Kurt Mithofer from the Southern Hampshire University said that the Microsoft solution has brought the ability to pull everyone together into one synchronized system that allows for more transparent visibility into what folks are working on. Great. Let's talk about some next steps from today's webinar. Take out that phone again and use that QR code. There's a landing page that we've created just for this webinar, so you can have some more resources at your disposal, like that case study, or if you'd like to schedule just a customized demo for your organization, or you'd like to take a look at some more details and our solution brief, just go ahead and scan that QR code or go to innovative-e.com to learn more. So how else can we help you? Well, Innovative E wants to make sure that you're aware that we have an entire Power Apps, Power Automate, and business process automation team at your disposal. So even if it's not work and project management related, we can help you. We're experts in those areas. We can do custom development if you need that. We can do SharePoint. Still a lot of folks needing help with SharePoint, either from a support or a cloud migration standpoint. We can do work management systems integration. We can pull these systems together into one common solution. And we do innovation and ideation management with our partner, Edison 365.
And Brian, one role that I know our certified partners often play for the audience that's on the webinar today is just to take a look at your environment in general and saying, am I getting access to all the tools that we talked about today? And if I'm not, what are some things that can be just turned on or configured within our Office 365 tenant, or perhaps within Power Apps? Sometimes those are very basic settings that just every administrator is not aware of. So often our certified partners, they know what the right answer looks like. It's a 10-minute conversation to save you a week of asking different people in the organization why I don't get to see certain things.
You know, that's a really great point, Jeff, that you bring up. You know, M365 and all of these tools, think of them like a bunch of switches that you need to flip. And sometimes you guys don't have the right switch flipped in your particular environment, and you're not sure which ones you need to take a look at. So we can help you make heads or tails out of that, as well as the licensing that you'll need in order to leverage these solutions to your fullest extent. Okay, folks, now it's time to kind of let your guard down and ask some questions. We're going to stick around. We've got a great panel for you today. We're going to try to answer all of your questions. Let's take a look at the chat thread and see if there were any questions that you guys asked earlier. So we had some folks just kind of representing their perspective that they would like to work in a more agile way. Yes, definitely possible within this tool set. Yeah, we're going to send out all the.
Maybe Brian, we could touch on the agile. So certainly the methodology or the intent of being more agile, it's now an option within the traditional project desktop application. You can actually have projects fired up as agile frameworks, and you can build some templates there. That's actually a very useful thing. Project for Web, you showed in the demo that you can set up some basic Kanban boards and really start to invoke the principles of Agile within the organization. And then lastly is we certainly offer GitHub and DevOps, which if you're into a full Agile format, you can again go back to your storyboards and your backlog and really get into the content side of it. The primary message there, again, is what we've said a few times, is you can work in 3 tools simultaneously with an agile type intent and bring that data together into a common report. So again, the maturity level of even what you're doing in agile doesn't have to be one size fits all.
Great point. And we can help you do that, folks. So if you have that need and you're kind of thinking, well, that's my trajectory, let us know and we can have that conversation with you and help you figure out how to do that.
Again, Brian, and on behalf of Microsoft, thanks for Innovative E for all the investments you're making in these tools to make the entire platform more useful. And the webinar has been great. Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it, Jeff. And with that, on behalf of everyone here at Innovative E and Microsoft, we'd like to say thanks for coming. Please let us know if there's anything else we can do for you. Please email me personally. You see my email address on the screen. brian.quick@innovative-e.com. Any parting comments from any of the panel?
Thank you, Innovative E. It's great to partner with you.
Yep, it's a great partnership. Super excited.
Let's get started, folks. Let's make project and work management more collaborative. Have a great day.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Brian.